Good afternoon. Welcome to OptionsTender. It's Friday, May 30th. It's the end of the month, 2025. We'll see how June is. I do believe that we've already started to get our sell-off. I've talked about that the last couple days. I do believe the top was in for our wave 2 at on the 19th of May. We have a lot of red happening today. We're really going to focus on bonds in the Discord. Our 10-year rate, you got to watch that. You got to. If that starts to break down, we're really going to see the market accelerate, dragged by tech. Okay. I went through a bunch of names today on the $4.99 a month video, just to go through on the lower time frames to catch these turns here, to see where we stood in real time. We saw a lot of these technical breakdowns and real cautious signals happening. So today I thought things were going to be sleepy. They were, and then they finally started to break down. Okay, so let's go through a lot of this. SPX and check out these indicators, and we'll fly through those indices just to give you a visual on the daily. In the 65 we'll end off. We're doing the VIX as well. We'll end this video, and tomorrow I'll do the weekly video tomorrow or Sunday, and that will be a very, very important video, because we want to look at and to see what the higher time frames are telling us as well. And I think you'll be interested in that. Okay, so let's jump into it. We're doing this about 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to get these videos intraday so it can help your trading, or perhaps give you a point of view that maybe you didn't see, it's 99 cents a month. It comes with the Discord and trade alerts, and then the $4.99 individual analysis stocks. It's all on YouTube, not Patreon. Then I explain those trades in real detail and give you every day a trading plan of how we're trading the market and what direction we're on. Okay, so jump into it. All right, taking a look at the visual. Traditional technical analysis. First of all, while I'm pulled out here, I know some people ask, why are you so early on your trades? And, when we're forming a top, this is a major top here. That's a long time of distribution, but it doesn't have to be like that. Okay. Now, I know this was a major top. We didn't know that back then. But there are times when you have a 2-3 day reversal. There's other times when it takes 4 or 5 days, even though that looks like a V right there. Look at these tops. That probably took 2 trading weeks just to reverse off of there. So we never know what we're going to get. And a lot of times it's very sharp. So that's why I catch turns. When I do those turns, I use the in-out spreads. I use inverse ETFs that are out, dated weeks and weeks, sometimes months out, to give me some time. So that's why I catch these turns, and then they are usually swift. They usually take out the entire few to several weeks of trading before it. Okay, so now we have this bearish rising wedge. We've been watching this in real time. We saw this breakdown, back test, and we're starting to break down again. We're still in the same trading range. This gap is holding up so far, giving us a little bounce. So this is all 1 week, right? So that's giving us a weekly candle here. That's an inside candle. So although we'll look at this tomorrow on a visual aspect, you can see that trading, we had that initial move down. Now we're getting inside, maybe a harami, some sort of reversal candle pattern, and I think we'll see continuation going on to next week. We could even gap down below. That would be the easiest way for the market to handle this. If it's going to be bearish, is to gap down underneath the gap over it. Okay, so I do suspect that we'll start to get our reversal. We're testing the 8 EMA. We might even close above it today, just to hold everybody accountable, waiting for the next move. We have the 20 right underneath. You have the 200, this confluence of moving averages. We'll probably test that early next week, and then let's see what happens going under there. If you're a bull, you really just want to hold the 200 and call it a day and go higher. But there still is a bullish scenario, even if price goes a little bit lower. Let's McClellan oscillator. Still bearish in bear territory. I think this will continue lower. Nothing positive about this breadth yet. So the only thing that was holding us up today was Tesla and Microsoft for some time, and they're starting to let go. If Microsoft goes, then everything else is, already weak. So we're getting our bear cross here. We're getting confirmation there, and it's starting to roll over. That could help us momentum-wise flip over. So we talked about yesterday, the slow stochastic was heading to the upside. All right, we back tested this trend that was up here. So we have that little pivot, this little trend line right there. We back tested it, and now we're rolling over. And what I said was, as soon as momentum, we already got the momentum bearish cross here, so we're headed to the downside. Now we have a headwind to the downside when we get this cross. Okay, this was, did I say headwind? We had the headwind while momentum was curling over. The slow stochastic momentum indicator was heading higher. Okay, so that's why we're getting this sideways move. When this curls over, then we'll have a tailwind to the downside, and we'll see acceleration of price action. DMARC. Our DMARC sequence, we're 1, 2, 3, nothing to see here. Awesome oscillator. Turning red still. Let's go to SPY. Our money flow index on SPY. We have money flowing out so far. Do we oscillate all the way to the downside? I think so. We'll continue to watch this. There's no setup on that in particular. And right here, no setup. Again, we're at the volume shelf, Elliott oscillator. Here we go with our wave 2 count. I believe that wave 2 is in. We had trouble getting over that 786 from the entire last week's move. So that initial impulse wave, we retraced to the 786 and just couldn't get above it. We tagged it on Tuesday. It was a shortened week. Wednesday couldn't stay above it. Thursday gapped up, couldn't stay above it. And now we're starting to get our movement to the downside. So clearly our potential support right here is holding up today, being a Friday and being a short week. And that was good support here. Good support here. You got that bounce. And then provided support here on 2 daily candles, resistance on this day. So this is a really good support area that we're holding at the 585 today. Okay, I think that we'll probably break that going into Monday. Maybe we get a bounce there. Something of that matter. But right now in the shorter time frame, all we're going to do is we're going to form this kind of triangle. It's going to be an equilibrium between price action. So when that breaks to the downside or upside, we'll have a next leg to go. But at this point, we're in ABC. That C wave is done for wave 2, and we're going to start moving to the downside. And as soon as that becomes apparent, if it happens, then this price action will start to accelerate to the downside. Let's go to the Qs. Well, let's just get a visual of a lot of these. All right, we're in this trading range. We're at the bottom of the range. So clearly that's holding today. But we did have a technical breakdown from this clear, beautiful trend line. All right, you have the 3 touches, valid trend line, even made a new high off of there. Now we're breaking down from it. We want to hold, if you're a bull, you want to hold 510 to go up to the top of the range. If you break down from here, that's another technical breakdown. SMH, that was a clear leader today. Breaking down here, even breaking support. Even though it made a new high, it was just really back testing this wedge here. And so we can move this to, here's our benefit of the doubt. trend line. Okay, we have a tag here, and we're holding on to that today. So we're going to leave this here for now. See if this holds. Very bearish day. I really doubt it will. And then you have a huge gap down below here. Once it gets into that gap, it will probably fill the entire thing. So we'll be watching that to occur next. IWM. IWM was kind of the leader in all of this, had broken down from its clear bearish rising wedge. And let's see if it gets back into this trading range that was from way back when here. All right, you see a lot of volume right here. So it held for a minute. Let's see if it breaks up or breaks down. My guess is to the downside. Okay, the diamonds just holding up today on this trend line, but it was just doing its job, and you can also see it's in equilibrium as well. So you have the whole trading week last week, and we're bouncing around inside. We have this inside week, and that's a potential reversal. So if we break the equilibrium to the upside, we're going to have another leg higher. Same thing with the lower side. Break down, you're going to see a whole another leg continuation to the downside. So we'll be watching this formation of a reversal here. And you can draw this as a diamond too. This is also valid, a diamond topping formation. I know a lot of people like to do that. The VIX, we've been showing this for quite some time. We have this boxed in basing area, and we're at that level right now. We have these bullish falling wedges into the trend line, triangle into the trend line, and a breakout each and every time. We're just doing that now. We're continuing to try to rip to the upside. We're holding that 19 level, which is so important, and that trend line. I believe we see a continuation next week. SPY, let's go to the 65. Here's a traditional look. So we had the breakdown from the wedge from the on the daily time frames without the wicks, and that broke down. That was our first indication. And then you have this geometric line here, the touch there, and I call it just a pivot because it didn't have real touches here. It's just breaking down, breaking up, breaking down right around it. So it's just pivoting right around there. And here's a good support that we're kind of holding at. Perhaps we hold that today, but I think this continuation will start to gain some momentum. So here's our bearish look here. We have an A, B, and then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to complete the C wave for the wave 2. All right. And now on a minute level, we're looking at a 1, a 2, complete at the 786, and we're starting to reverse off of that. I think we'll get some continuation. And I continue to talk about, we'll probably see a wave, a minuet wave 1, 2, and then a wave 3. And the reason why I say that is because the Qs made a new high right here. Okay, while SPY and IWM and the diamonds did not. And so they already had their impulse wave. The Qs have to have their impulse wave. So we'll probably mimic that on SPY and then get a bounce when Qs do. And so that'll be a 1, 2, 1, 2 setup. But the argument will be, all right, and so we plan for a continuation lower. But the argument will be at this point that this is a wave 3 for an A, a B, and we're just getting a C wave because it's a 3-wave move, right? So that will be the argument for the bears. For the bulls will be a 3-way move, a 3-wave move and higher levels. And we will know if that's, we'll have this line right here from the high of the B wave that will confirm, if you're bullish, that will confirm the bullish move there. Approximately, let's see, the high is 593.02. So if we draw a little line here, this is what we'll monitor on the daily videos that we do. And we'll say bear invalidation. Therefore, you guys can see exactly what I'm looking at to see if something is working out. I'll put it on hover. So we'll leave that there. That's our bear invalidation right there. All right. So why we do this each and every day is so we can follow these, we can learn to interpret these indicators, the levels, what to look for. You know, corrections are always 3-wave moves and impulses are 5 waves. So we want to see, the bears want to see 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5-wave move down. Even if it's a 1, 2, 1, 2, then you want to see a continuation of 5 waves and, you know, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not going to go through the whole Elliott wave lesson. So let's look at some of these. Have the moving averages starting to curl over, just holding 100 so far. 100 moving average, simple. So we're into this oversold territory so far. So let's see how that plays out. We can go much lower than this. Trust me. Especially since we already had a negative divergence here. We're just nicking that, we're in that 30 area. In a bear move, it can go all the way down to, you know, 8, 5, and even start oscillating back and forth while price is going down. Okay? So don't get deceived that this is done. We're just rolling over in a neutral position. We'll have to see some price acceleration to the downside for this to happen. We have the rollover in the slow stoke. So our DMARC, we had that 13 count exhaustion. See if that continues. We have a 3-4 count to the downside so far. So my guess is, you know, we're getting into those oversold territories, but we can go further. So we'll probably close this gap next week. And then again, we'll be oversold. We'll get a bounce. And the Qs will be a good example of that. So I'm going to bring you over here just for a second. And so we have the look here. All right, we're into that support area. Then we have this gap below with the 200. We'll probably close that. That's the initial wave. Okay, this will be some sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave move. This will curl over. We'll start to form divergence, and then we'll get our bounce. All right, and so that will be this bounce in SPY. Now we'll have to watch that carefully, because if you only have a straight down move in the Qs, you know, that's not a correction. All right, unless this was a expanded B and then a C. Okay, so there's ways to count it either way, but we're looking for a 3-wave move and then the initial move for the Qs. Awesome oscillator. Rolling over, getting to that neutral area. Money's flowing out. We had negative divergence in that pop up there, and now money's continues to flow out. Distribution. Bollinger Band got real tight here and is starting to push to the downside. I suspect this will continue. Now, before, you know, this might be the bounce area, right? You get a buy here. Well, you have a lot of negative divergence that has to play out, and it's just now expanding. I don't think that's a very good signal for a buy. Okay, oversold into the bottom of the Bollinger Band. That's not a real good setup for me for a buy, in my opinion. Elliott oscillator, again, negative divergence, and then now it's just starting to roll over. Here's the VIX point of view from the 65. And again, we had that inverse head and shoulder breakout, and now we're just back testing and we're pushing off. So it's clear we're probably not going to do anything for the rest of the day. We're at this options expected move. Probably not going to see any more movement there. Well, that jumped away. So we're looking for a larger head and shoulder, inverse head and shoulder now. There's our neckline. We have the gap that we're probably going to close. Come up here, close the gap into resistance. That will set us up for a continuation to the downside in the market. And then we'll probably pull back. All right, we'll pull back and that will give a bounce in the market. And then we continue. And the only thing that this is doing is, remember, if we're looking at that cycle, we go through these on the individual analysis videos, a lot of the cycles. We're getting into that early June territory. So next week so if this is the approximately June 5th, I mean, give it 4 days of a zone for a bottom. I think we're already bottoming here, but we can, like I said, continue to the upside, close the gap, and start to get a higher low into this bottoming period. Okay, and then we're off to the races with a daily cycle acceleration here to the upside. All right, that rising period. So that's a taste of what we look at on cycles. Slim, that's where I'm trying to learn these cycles a lot more on. And now I'm starting my own cycle analysis away from his. And so I'm starting to show those to members. Eventually, I'll have those on the overall videos, but I have to confirm, I don't base all my trading off of these cycles, but I have to confirm that I'm able to, teach that to you. So right now, it's almost like a beta kind of thing for myself. And as I learn from his analysis, then I can, because he changes the cycles when the market tells him something. He expands, contracts. I want to be a little bit more stagnant and listen to the higher time frames, meaning the weeklies and the monthlies, and then look at those dailies shift. But I don't want to move them around as much as he does. I'm very it's very confusing. So anyway, I'll stop babbling on. Is there anything I want to show you? We have some breakdowns happening. MJ is breaking down a little further. So we had this equilibrium here and it broke down from it. That's okay. It's just a larger correction. So just take your Elliott analysis, and thought the move was done there. It was not. We had capitulation. It's done. And we have a nice monthly time frame reversal candle. So we have an inside month now, and we had a nice move to the upside. And somebody asked me about CGC in the Discord, and so I told them, it's just correcting more. It came to the 50%, bounced, and now we're probably going to head to that 18.57. It can head lower. It's a very volatile sector, but this is an objective long here at 18, about 57. I didn't do the exact numbers. About 1850, and we'll look to see if price holds from there. So all we're getting is a zigzag, 535. That's a very typical wave 1 into wave 2. All right. Wave 1. I wasn't even sure I was going to do a video today at all because of the non-movement, but I'm glad I was able to get some information out to you. So we're looking for a 1-2 setup. I continue to just scream that this is going to be the greatest sector to be in for, especially if you're an upside only buyer for the decade. This is going to be a fantastic. It's the most undervalued market out there. All right. So while we go into recessionary periods with individual names here with the overall market and the S&P and probably the world, we're going to see a bull market here in MJ in the marijuana, the cannabis market here. So that's all. I'm Church Chattering. I will see you in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a wonderful weekend.